All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to much better fade out music than last week. Last week it was just off. This week I actually did a little bit better of a job fading it out. Anyway, welcome to the Empire Next podcast presented by us. You know, we don't have anything. If you're watching us on video here, you can notice here in our background updates to our background in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, I believe, if that's mirrored correctly. You can see a QR code. That is, if you're using a mobile device, you can, or somehow you can scan that, and that will take you to our link tree where you can find everywhere an ongoing and increasingly large list of everywhere you can find our back catalog. Some of those newer ones that you can find towards the bottom of that list, I am still working on getting it all uploaded. Being a one-man technical operation and, having a day job, I upload that kind of stuff when I can. It usually takes, an hour or so at a time. Anywho, without further ado, let's get into tonight's program. Orange Man is potentially facing
Wicked awesome
a second
fade out
round of impeachment with,
Wicked awesome fade out, by the way, bro. Good stuff, man. I can't see the new background though. What? Am I in an X-wing or something? Am I at the Death Star?
No. You're still in the same box. The majority of it still looks the same. Just the bottom and then the bottom right hand corner has changed. May mess with it more later. This is just one of those that we joined. We've had a bit shoot for a while, but for about 5 months it sat with just the first episode on it because I didn't feel like messing with it. Now that it seems like the YouTube purge is inevitable, even though it's always inevitable. At least have some stuff other places before that happens. We're also currently on Rumble investigating other options. The Parlor if it doesn't die, yada yada, etc. So
BitChute is really cool, guys. If you're out there listening to us on a different format, BitChute is really cool. It's it was a little wonky at first, but it's getting better.
It's like right now. It's like 2012 YouTube. That's about its functionality. Is 2012 YouTube. From the back end perspective,
coming on strong to 2014.
Yeah, I mean it's getting there, but the biggest problem with it is the video processing time. Like there's we're like on YouTube, we can live stream, which BitChute doesn't have at this point. The main competitor live streaming space, that being DLive for YouTube streaming, started fucking around with people today. So I was going to investigate multi-streaming. Yeah, that's not happening anymore. At least not with them. So. Still potentially looking for a new live stream home, but Rumble. Rumble is hella more user friendly, and it's actually almost as old as YouTube itself. Just kind of they've modernized it and started using it for broad spectrum publishing of user content. It was originally just a platform to help like music people monetize their work, but now they're getting to trying to be a YouTube competitor, and it's pretty user friendly, and I quite enjoy it. So. The little bit I messed around with it, but we'll see. As a lot is changing in the online media landscape, and because we're not line steppers here, so rather we don't toe the party line. So we who knows what will happen to us here in the near future, and thankfully neither of us. This is not our day job, so. If this were all to go away tomorrow, it'd suck, but oh well. Anyhow, tonight. So Orange Man's facing the second round of impeachment, even though he's got 8 days, 3 hour, he's got just over a week to go. Let's just call it that, because his inauguration, the 21st at noon Eastern, his term is officially over. He's once again committing the ultimate faux pas in politics. Like he's not gonna hang out at the White House and shake Joe Biden's hand or ride with him in the limo or leave him a nice fancy note in the resolute desk. No, he's gonna fucking go golfing in Florida because fuck you guys.
Pretty
Can I
much.
blame him? No, not really. Other than
Little bit.
some of the since the last time we were on the air, we were on what, last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. Lot has happened. Specifically, I'm not going to call it. This is what everybody else called it. Oh, the attempted like MAGA insurrection or whatever at the White House. First off, it's not a fucking insurrection. One casualty from the insurrectors, one from the defenders, and it was over in about 90 minutes. Like, come on. If either side wanted to actually attempt an insurrection, there would have been a much higher body count. And that was obviously wasn't and this whole idea that Trump incited this riot is quite frankly bullshit. Because if you actually look at it, watch the video of his speech, look at the transcript, and actually time up the amount of time, if you were in person watching his speech just from outside the White House to get to the Capitol building, it couldn't have happened. You can't run that fast. The folks that were at his speech were not the folks that broke into the building. It's not the same people. To be fair, they probably have similar sensibilities, and those aren't the same people. He didn't instruct people, now go burn down the Capitol. No, that didn't happen. But if you'd watch, any sort of mainstream media, and including Fox and other mainstream conservative sources who are now done with Trump, per se, they've milked him dry, all that's useful to them. You would have thought that Donald Trump went up and did a speech in the Rose Garden and grabbed a torch and led the angry mob to the Capitol. That's not what happened. Not even literally, metaphorically, that's not what happened. It's whatever. So some of those folks that decided to have unauthorized access to the Capitol, there's obviously some bad behavior there, which needs to be dealt with accordingly. But one way to not deal with it accordingly is what's happened to the folks just have been essentially narked on that are now in no-fly lists. The no-fly list, or the concept of a no-fly list, in my view, is used as we can't convict you of anything, we haven't gotten around to it yet, but we're still going to punish you. We're going to extrajudicially punish you, making your life more difficult. Getting put on a no-fly list is an incredibly, even rightly, wrongly, or otherwise. There's been several people, throughout the recent history of this country that have been put on no-fly lists because they happen to have the same as as somebody that the DOJ claims is bad.
Right.
And they either end up losing. I'm not saying it's your right to board an airplane in the United States, but lose their ability to fly, or they got to spend like $100,000 in 3 years of life in a courtroom and on legal fees to get their name removed. And that's bullshit. And the same thing goes for the different, name a pick a federal agency that wants to put you on a note in the FBI and the ATF that put people on lists that don't allow them to buy guns without a trial, without a court order, without any due process here. You know what? If it's found that the so-called insurrectionists did commit a crime and they're going to be convicted of a crime, and part of the penalty for that is being on a no-fly list, on top of a prison term or a fine or whatever, so be it. But none of those people have been convicted of anything yet, and so you're gonna put them on no-fly lists? Like, come the fuck on here. This is just an absolute bullshit violation of due process rights. I'm not saying I like what they did, but come the fuck on. We got to, if we're going to do this, we got to do this. If we're going to hold people accountable, we gotta fucking do it right. And doing what has been done, that ain't it. I'm pissed about that. Josh, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I mean, okay. From a legal standing, I wish I had it in front of me. I can't remember. But from a legal standing, with past legal precedent, Donald Trump did not incite a riot. Not to the point where if you or I did what Donald Trump did, if you or I did that, there is no way we could be convicted of incitement to riot. No way.
Or
But
incitement
he's
to
the
violence
president.
or any sort of, or yeah,
Right. No criminal offense. An unpresidential offense, potentially impeachable. Yes, maybe. As we've discussed on this show and elsewhere in the past, the true definition of what an impeachable offense is whatever 51% of the House of Representatives says. That's the only true definition of what an American impeachable offense is.
Impeachment was designed to be the high crimes and misdemeanors. It's the corruption, essentially corruption or based offenses that had been proven. However, even in the impeachment of, I don't want to make this argument, I'm not going to go out on this limb, but even in the impeachment of Richard Nixon,
who wasn't actually impeached.
Which it wasn't actually impeached, but he would have been had he stuck out. It's been a political process the entire time. Now it's the legislation's vote of no confidence. It's similar to the way in systems, parliamentary systems with a prime minister being the head of state, can hold a vote of no confidence, which with depending on the country with certain parameters that can remove the prime minister from their position with time left in their term. So this has turned into that. Impeachment has turned into that. It's just not something that you see the out of power party throw this accusation around quite regularly. We're going to try and impeach the sitting president, yada yada. You've seen that thrown around. It's just this has been the first time and they've acted on it for a long time. Excuse me. And if there wasn't a political process, it was actually a legal process. The first attempt to impeach Donald Trump we wouldn't have gotten anywhere, and this one wouldn't get anywhere either. But it's a political process, and so be it.
No, it's true. It also, the most famous example of a vote of no confidence, of course, for the people listening, is when the Galactic Senate can do it. As we know, the senator from Naboo once, called a vote of no confidence on Chancellor Valorum, which led to, Chancellor Palpatine taking over, and that was a terrible idea. So,
we could do an example for in I think 2017.
I just wanted to see how long I could
string people along.
You're right.
No, so Theresa May, I believe it was 2017. She said we'll get Brexit done by X date or I'll resign, and there was going to be a brewing and trying to get together, I believe, a vote of no confidence for her before she stepped down to avoid that. And then ultimately Boris Johnson, who's still the current is he was elected after she resigned the position. So
and the Wookiees opposed it, and the ETs were for it, as we recall from episode 1. No, but seriously,
I forgot the ETs were in the Galactic Senate. I forgot about that.
They are. It's true. They're Chancellor Valorum haters, where the Wookiees are. They like Valorum. But I am a person that, in my humble opinion, and I'm not a congressman. This is just an opinion. In my opinion, what Donald Trump did to get impeached the first time, with supposed Russian collusion and whatever else nonsense, I never once through that entire thing saw something that I believed was an impeachable offense. What has gone down in the last 2 months, quite frankly, in my opinion, was there impeachable offenses in there? Yeah, maybe. When I say incitement to riot, well, if I did that, of course that's not incitement to riot. If Dorf did that, no, of course not. Even if other people did it, but we do, of course, hold the
same
president
reason
of the United States
mainstream
to...
Democrat politicians did that the entire year, and it wasn't incitement to riot. It's not incitement to riot.
Right. It's not incitement to riot, but it is reason for me as an American to think that they're terrible. And
fair enough.
I am doing the same now. Yeah. Donald Trump, I have to imagine that Donald Trump is a pretty smart guy. He's smarter than me. I host podcasts. He's the president. Let's call it a tie, right? Let's. No, obviously Donald Trump. He's smarter than me, right? He's.
You're too short. You'd never be president, man. I hate to break it to you.
I wouldn't be the shortest president ever. I got an inch on James Madison. Yeah, no, I do have an inch on James Madison, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
No, short guys don't usually make it.
Short guys don't. Anywho, sorry.
That's because they're all satanic. Yeah, no. I can't blame you for not jumping on an opportunity to make fun of my height. But I mean, that's just because they're all Illuminati, Satan worshiping people with Nephilim blood in them, so they're taller than me. I get it.
I don't even know what the hell that means.
But the internet knows. The internet knows exactly what I mean. And we just got banned from everything but
I will take your word for
shit.
it. And I was going to say, I'm going to take your word for it. And if this ends up to being a negative and mark on my character, I do apologize. I didn't know what it meant. Please forgive me. And I look forward to learning and listening to become a better person. I don't know. Standard apology.
See, now, Dorf, if Donald Trump had your demeanor, he wouldn't be getting impeached a second time. Probably wouldn't have got impeached the first time. So
well,
maybe when I said Trump was smarter than me,
probably doesn't
maybe
get elected.
Maybe. But listen, I don't like what he did, okay? I'm not going as far to call it incitement to riot, but Donald Trump had 2 months to pump the brakes on his election fraud nonsense. And it is nonsense, guys. And this is coming from your resident conspiracy theorist. But he had 2 months to pump the brakes on this. You know, truth is, people say, well, the Russian collusion thing, that came from Hillary because Hillary didn't accept the election either. Well, yes and no. Hillary should be criticized for many, many, many things. But do you know what Hillary Clinton did on the night of the election in 2000? Or 2016, I'm sorry. She called Donald Trump and conceded. That's what American candidates
do. It was technically the day after. It was before people woke up, but yeah.
Okay. Good enough. I consider that night. Before the sun comes up is still night. But sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after midnight. But listen, he had 2 months to pump the brakes on this. Didn't think about it. He kept going. He was trying. I don't care what anyone says. The man was trying to set himself up for a 2024 run. He knew he lost. He set himself up. He lied. He was lying to the American people. At the very least, he was stretching the truth and pushing falsehoods. He tried every legal opportunity. He was shut down. We have never seen a single legal brief that shows the leg he was supposedly standing on. The idea
Josh, I want to
of
push back. I
him
want to push back
going
on that statement. I do
okay.
want to push back on that statement. So, this is common statement by those in the mainstream media. Now, Josh, ultimately, I think your conclusion in the end here is correct. The idea that Donald Trump 40 or whatever in court, or 1 for 40 in court, and the court decided on the merits. No, there was never an evidentiary hearing in any Trump-related suit directly filed by him or those who would tacit support from the campaign or the candidate himself. Rather, the courts, quite frankly, in my opinion, bitched out, including all the way up to the Supreme Court, tossing these suits on stand grounds, not based on the evidence or lack thereof. The court and the way the court works in the United States is heavily based on jurisprudence. That being said, this is, to summarize what that is in a layman's term, is this is the way we've always done it, so we will continue to do it this way. Done this way before, we will continue to do it this way. There is, in concepts in law that, while not based on the text of the Constitution, is just the way we do things around here. And if you're a believer in the institution of the court, then you're absolutely correct. The suits should have been dropped out, although there's a good point being brought up by some in the legal community that if Trump and his associates would have filed these lawsuits ahead of time, they would have been tossed before the election. They would have been tossed because they haven't been injured or aggrieved yet. If they filed immediately, they wouldn't have standing because they couldn't get enough parties involved. And if they filed later, like they attempted to, they would be disqualified because of latches. Because what's the concept of latches? Which, to summarize it in layman's terms again, means you waited too long. So there's an easy excuse to the court not to, that's not based in the Constitution, to not take a case any step along the way, whether it be early on time or too late. Which, quite frankly, I can understand the constitutional argument that none of those should be allowed to stand. If it's fired early on time or late, it should be heard. Maybe the only exception on being the late, when there's nothing you can do to remedy it. Like, there'd be no reason to case involving two parties that are deceased, potentially, or that you're hoping to remedy an issue that's been remedied some other way. Fair enough, but the idea that the court or the Supreme Court can just poo-poo a case and refuse to hear a case between states because you took too long. Sorry, this you still could have remedied a potential injury if you decided that, based on the facts of the case, that there was one. But instead, the Supreme Court of the United States chose to just not hear it. So, which, the way we do business here and the way the courts operate in this country, that's the prerogative. I don't like it, especially now because it cost my team, per se. I don't really like Donald Trump, but it cost my team. But
Dorf, I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you. I'm sorry to be the one to break this to you. It did not cost your team. It did not. Perhaps they should have taken the case. Perhaps they should have done the rigmarole.
I would.
Perhaps they should have done it.
I would feel perfectly fine and totally content with Joe Biden being the president of the United States here in 8.5 days or whatever it is. If I wouldn't feel the least bit perturbed about it if there was actually an evidentiary hearing in something where the specific complaints and data issues in data were raised and then potentially countered or debunked not just by news media, but in a court where it actually fucking matters. If that was heard and adjudicated, I would be. Right now, I'm disgruntled. Not to the point where I want to grab my torch and pitchfork and go burn the Capitol, but go ahead.
You don't own a pitchfork.
I don't.
But
you were right. I do not currently own a pitchfork.
But listen, he would have lost. Not a leg to stand on. There wasn't even a case. Like I said, there isn't even a legal brief. But maybe they should have done it. Maybe they should have done it. But why I'm glad they didn't is something that, quite honestly, I'm not saying no one has said it. Maybe they have, but I haven't heard anyone say this. Why I'm glad that the courts didn't take this or didn't jump in is because the Constitution lays this out very plainly, that this is how the executive branch leaders are chosen. This is how the legislative branch makes it happen.
Is chosen, yep.
And the judicial branch has very little to do with it. They have very little to do with it. So I have no idea if this thought even crossed through the mind of any of the Supreme Court justices, but I'm glad that they said that, no, this is not our constitutional authority. This is to be decided by the states, by the voters. And even if it's not decided by them, there is a process for it to happen. And what I've been trying to say since day one with this is that I've been trying to tell Trump supporters this, is that you must realize, and it's okay if you're okay with this, be okay with it. Just just know and own what you're advocating. And the only way this was ever going to happen was for certain states, your Michigans, your Georgias, your Pennsylvanias, your Nevadas, is for certain states to have come out and said, we don't know if this is right, so we are not submitting electoral votes for their state legislatures to, in essence, disenfranchise their entire state. To have no one in that. It's not a matter of counting legal votes. That ship was long sailed. That ship sailed 48 hours after the election. What the only leg they had to stand on at all was to disenfranchise full states. To disenfranchise 10 million people at a time.
So Josh,
10 million here, 10 million in Georgia, 10.
Sure. Well, and I got something else here for you. What are your thoughts on the idea of, like, specifically in the state of Wisconsin? They didn't follow their own election laws, and the many parties in the state of Wisconsin attempted to sue to remedy that. So they didn't through nothing other than I said so, violated the laws written by the legislature, who is constitutionally, both at the state and federal level, in charge of elections. The executive branch just changed the rules because they said so. Because pandemic, even though there's no pandemic or no emergency clause anywhere to be found in either the state of Wisconsin Constitution or the federal Constitution. What is your remedy to that? If there's no penalty or no enforcement of the legislature, even specifically about elections and how they're run, then what other choice you have? Like, why isn't a reasonable remedy to, the way you've described it, disenfranchise whole states or the voters if it wasn't done properly by their own state rules?
I can't answer that. I don't have an opinion because I don't live in Wisconsin. That's Wisconsin's problem. If Wisconsin's state legislature is going to if they're going to cheat, and I'm not saying that I think they did,
but at the same time,
if Wisconsin is going to cheat,
hang on, because this was the state of Texas when they sued with the 18 other attorneys general joining the from the other states joining their suit. Argued in their case, which was thrown out on standing, not on the evidence or the claim, that I have an interest in them following their rules because their electors help choose the president of the United States, which affects me. Is that not a valid legal argument where you should care how Wisconsin runs their elections?
No, it's not. You can care.
Okay.
You can care all you want. I don't like it. I don't like it that people in the Middle East are chopping heads off Christians. I especially don't like it because I'm a Christian. I really like those people. I really think they're brave, and I actually just wish they would like lie and say they're Muslim so they wouldn't get their head chopped off. Maybe that's an extreme example, but I have no say in the matter. And Texas doesn't like how Wisconsin is running their elections. Sorry, Texas. I don't know what to tell you. I got to imagine that I'm throwing some real quick maths out here right now, so forgive me if I'm off. But I got to imagine that the 3.5 million people, the 3.5 million people in Wisconsin that seem to lean right. If you're going to allow, the 50-50 thing to take into people that don't even vote at all. But, I got to imagine that the 3 to 3.5 million people leaning right in Wisconsin are going to have a much bigger problem with their own state supposedly rigging elections, and they actually do have a say, than those people in Texas who think it's affecting them. It's just not there. Texas runs their elections, Wisconsin runs theirs. If it turns out that there's voter fraud, which, by the way, I'm gonna, I don't particularly care for this conspiracy theory of 2020 voter fraud, taking the election away from Donald Trump. I don't care for it, but I'm gonna one up the conspiracy theorists. I'm gonna pull my tinfoil hat off, reveal that there's another thicker tinfoil hat on underneath it, and I'm gonna throw it at the new conspiracy theorists and show them that, is there voter fraud? Yeah, maybe. I've done a lot of reading on it. I'm not sure JFK beat Nixon in 1960. I'm not sure there hasn't been voter fraud for my entire life. Michael Badnarik, there's a name you've never heard of. You know him best from me saying, you guys listening know him best from me saying his name right now. Michael Badnarik, Libertarian candidate for president in, it was either 2000 or 2004, maybe both, not sure, was talking about computerized voting machines and how ludicrous the idea was and how it's obvious that this can't be trusted. Way back then, nobody cared, though. None of you Republicans cared about voter fraud until your dude lost. None of you Democrats cared about the way big tech or foreign countries involve themselves in other people's elections until your chick lost. None of you guys care.
2016, when the anointed one, Hillary Clinton, was defeated. Yeah. Right.
None of you Democrats or Republicans cared, and the worst part is, next time around, when your dude or chick wins, you'll stop caring about it again. Because there it is. Right now, as it reads right now, the Republicans or a lot of Trump supporters are screaming about voter fraud. By the numbers, Donald Trump received more votes for president of the United States than any person in American history, except Joe Biden. Except for Joe Biden at this time. So, how many of those votes are fake? But let me guess, only the other side's cheating, right? Only the other side's cheating.
Duh.
This is.
It's only wrong when they do it.
This is my problem. This is my problem. Right. This is my problem. This is my problem from day one. Now, I'll say this as a student of history, especially a student of political history, I definitely think both sides have cheated in the past. Have the Democrats been caught in a lot more cheating in voting scandals than the Republicans have? Yeah, they have. It's true. Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
Dead people have been voting in Illinois since the beginning of forever. So I mean that's not new. That's the old joke. It's like, my parents voted Democrat this year. I was so mad I won't even go to their graves anymore. And that's everybody knows that old joke. There's nothing new there. But truth is, Trump lost. He knows he lost. He spread this. He kept pushing this. He was doing it for political reasons. He went too far. And now it's a mess. It's a mess. Now, do I blame him for the fact that, we spend over $700 billion in defense and tax money in this country, and the Capitol building was
probably closer to 900.
I think it's 700. Okay, well, let's go with over 700 billion in defense for this country, and a Viking, his chubby sidekick, and a crew of elite rednecks broke into the Capitol building. I mean,
without firing a shot.
Do I blame Donald Trump for that? Yeah, I mean, come on, ludicrous. But that's neither here nor there. Now, do you know what I really oppose, though? I do oppose the idea that Congress is going to try to swing something to make Donald Trump legally incapable of seeking the office of president. Mm-hmm. I reject this idea vehemently. And I know there's a lot of back and forth over this constitutionally. I don't see it in the Constitution where that gives any sort of power. I think they can impeach him right now, or at least begin the proceedings. We all know they probably don't have the votes to remove him. They don't have time to get to the point where you would remove him. They may have time to get the impeachment done. Looks like they're going to give it a shot. Personally, I hope they do. But that, it is mostly it's optics for the most part. It's nothing.
So what do you think about
major that's
Mitch
going
McConnell?
On? He'll be.
What do you think about Mitch McConnell being giddy about the possibility of impeaching Trump? I'm giddy about it because that means they can purge Trump from the Republican Party.
I think it's a smart move politically.
Really?
And although I don't think
shit.
I think listen, I'm not saying that any of these guys are good dudes. But for political reasons, Republicans, if I was a Republican in Congress right now, I would be jumping off the Trump train as fast as possible. I would be doing
Josh,
an
I'm not
absolute
saying you
heel
need to
turn on Donald Trump right now.
I don't think you need to be jumping. I don't blame people for jumping off the Trump train, but the idea that you want to then go be vindictive, there's a large contingent of this country who identifies with MAGA, and then you're going to go piss on the MAGA folks and tell them it's rain. Well, frankly, they're just going to put up an umbrella and turn their back on you forever. And you're going to need those folks to win elections, in the near term. So the last thing you want to do is tell them everything that they stand for in this political movement, which until 8-10 weeks ago was incredibly popular within the party, is now the devil. Like, I think that's it strikes me as the classic Republican trying to do something to make Democrats like you, even though they never will. They're never gonna like you. She's not gonna go out with you, bro. She's not gonna sleep with you, bro. Like, stop trying.
Okay, I get
You
that.
need you
I
need
got a
that
different
base.
take.
You're gonna need that base of voters. Don't fucking shit on them. Now, does that mean you need to be throwing parties or participating in the Donald Trump image rehab tour? No, but the idea that you need to go tell the MAGA, the whatever the and the silent majority guy, even though that's the forgotten man is arguably true, the silent majority probably not. But the idea that the uneducated working white man who largely identifies with that movement, if you're going to go tell him to go fuck himself, thing where the Donald Trump encouraged those guys, that class of character, to vote again, Republican, for the first time in a long time. If you're going to go tell them to go fuck themselves again, they're not going to go vote for your opponent. They're going to stay home. And you need those guys because the Democrat coalition, the stereotypical, the women voters, the minority voters, the white educated voters, those demographics are not shrinking.
Okay,
you're going to need those guys to win national elections.
Dorf, do you know what? Do you know who?
The last thing you need to be doing is going to shit on
the
them.
Republicans did shit on over the last couple of years, and it ended up hurting them bad, were the never Trumpers. The people who held true to the conservative ideals and refused to vote for Donald Trump, that's what hurt their party the most. Now, do you know why the Democrats are more successful politically than the Republicans? Because the Democrats know which voters they can take for granted.
True.
Yeah, and they know which one of their voters they can take for granted. Women, especially young women,
because they're on
people of color.
They're on Team Democrat.
Yeah, college types. They can take those people for granted. Do you know who the Republicans can take for granted? The Merca flag waving Trump supporters. The MAGA crew. That's who they can take for granted. Because as much as they are going to talk about how there ain't never been a... there. No, I think you can. Because those people will vote.
You might not be, but Josh, my point is
they will vote for whoever has an R next to their name. Next time. They will do it. They will do it, Dorf. I'm telling you, they will do it. They hated John McCain. They voted for him. They weren't crazy about Mitt Romney. They voted for him. They will vote for Mike Pence. They will vote for Don Jr. They'll vote for Tom Cotton. They'll vote for Rand Paul, Ron DeSantis. No, I think that's a good possibility. I was trying to throw out people that I don't think will be in there. They will vote
Ron DeSantis,
for John Kasich,
my favorite for the
or they will vote for Marco Rubio. They will vote for Detective Pikachu with the running mate of Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh. If they have an R next to their name, that is what they will do. Slap an R next to their name, and it's the best candidate since Ronald Reagan. I'm so happy to bring back the party of Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt with Detective Pikachu and Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh.
God,
that's what they will do. I don't know why it just popped into my head right. I don't know why it just popped into my head right now, honestly. but really,
I forgot about Mr. Hanky. Oh, I forgot about Mr. Hanky. That's great. No.
Yeah. Turd sandwich or giant douche.
What was the South Park? The South. A turd or a giant douche. That was the.
That's everyone. That's every time around. I mean,
turd sandwich. Giant douche.
So what do I oppose? Do I oppose using impeachment as a little tool just so they can say next time around, or they can refer to President Trump as the only president to be impeached twice? No, I don't oppose it. I really don't. I don't like how much impeachment has been thrown around in my lifetime. And you're talking the first 70 years of the Republic, 70 plus years, not one impeachment. We get one after the Civil War. We go 100 years without them ever talking about it again. They start to bring it up with Nixon. He resigns. Now, Bill Clinton gets a blowjob. Donald Trump makes Bill Clinton's wife mad, and a Viking raids the Capitol. Impeachment. I mean, do I think that's dumb? Part of me does. Yeah, it does. Should the House of Representatives should be rethinking that and realize that if you just impeach everybody for dumb things all the time, that in 15 years from now, if this republic is even standing, that it'll just come to a point where the opposite party impeaches every time and the American people don't give a shit. Yeah, we're getting there right now. I mean, really, we're getting there right now. But so I don't. But I do not believe that they have the power to say that Donald Trump can't run for president again. Personally, the Democrats should want Donald Trump to run for president again because he would lose to pretty much anyone, I think, at this point. I mean, he lost to half-dead Joe Biden. Full-dead Joe Biden could beat him next time if he does try for 2024. I don't think history is going to remember Donald Trump well now. They're definitely not going to remember him well as the guy that lost the popular vote 3 straight elections. You know, this guy that claims to be this popular hero who is, winning elections. The Republican Party needs to get the thing out of their head if this is going to be a 2-party system and not a 1-party system. They're going to get this out of their head that they can't win an election without winning the popular vote. It can be done. It has been done. You can do it, Republicans. Let's go for it. Pick a candidate who's not a narcissistic loon, and you will do it. If George W. Bush could win the popular vote, then you can find somebody else who can do it too. It really is possible. It can be done. And also, if you want to keep the Electoral College, and I do bad. It's a huge, important part of this republic. You want to keep the Electoral College, then we need to have it stop failing. And it's not a failure completely, but it shows how polarized the country is when it's happening this often. When people are winning the popular vote and losing the election. I'm not saying they should be reversed. Absolutely not. But it doesn't make the system look good when it's not working like that. Now, this time it did, though, right? Joe Biden won the election. It's just the Trump people claiming he didn't. But Joe Biden won. He won the popular vote by a lot, honestly.
Yeah.
And, he won the popular vote by the size of a South American country. And he won the Electoral College more handedly than Donald Trump won it in 2016. And it's over. I mean, I don't know how any of you guys voted for either one of those 2 clowns, but that's just me. I'm a radical. I'm nuts. Whatever. But I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't want him to be, I don't want Trump to be put in this position where he's not allowed to run. I don't think Congress should be able to do that to anyone, quite frankly. I don't like the idea. Personally, if people are dumb enough to vote for somebody, right. No, that's what democracy is.
If we want to, if the American people,
right? No, absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to I agree.
18-time mega felon to be our president, so be it.
If the Republicans run
by the rules of the game,
double impeached president Donald Trump for a chance at a non-consecutive term in 2024, then they deserve the loss that's going to be served up to them on a silver platter. They need to distance themselves from Donald Trump. They really do. I think they should have distanced themselves from Donald Trump in 2016. That would have been the great time to do it. We've heard a lot of criticism over the years of the Democrats rigging their own primary. Deserved criticism because they did rig their own primary. Yeah, no, they do. And when they were criticized for it, they basically told the courts, it's our primary, we'll rig it if we want to.
They do it out
well, you know
open.
What?
They do it out in the open.
If the Republicans had the stones to do what the Democrats did, they wouldn't have been stuck with Donald Trump. And remember those 22 other dudes who were on the stage with Donald Trump running for the Republican nomination in 2016? Guess what, folks? Any one of them would have beat Hillary Clinton. Any one of them. Because people hate Hillary Clinton. Everybody hates Hillary Clinton. Republicans triple hate Hillary Clinton. Democrats just sort of hate Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton hates Hillary Clinton. Everybody hates Hillary Clinton. She sucks. She was a terrible candidate, and anyone could have beat her. Anyone. Half of those dudes, I bet most of those guys up on the stage probably would have won that crazy popular vote while they were at it too. You know? That's the truth, guys. That is the absolute truth. So if the Republicans, quite frankly, they should have had the stones to do what the Democrats do. Should have rigged their own primary. Or at the very least just said, hey, you know what, Trump? You didn't sign the paperwork soon enough. You're not allowed to run in our primary. See ya. But since the Republicans... Right, yeah, we didn't even know what you were. Or the minute when they... Remember that debate years ago? Probably, you guys probably don't. Remember that
party member
debate where they asked the 20 guys on stage, if you lose the primary, will all of you vow to not run third party? And everyone on the stage except Donald Trump raised his hand. And Rand Paul threw a fit. Because Rand Paul could be the darling of the Libertarian Party if he wanted to be. But he signed up. He signed the paperwork. He did all the right things. He paid his dues. He did this, and Rand Paul threw a fit. So what the hell? You're going to let this guy? You wouldn't let me do that. So the Republicans could have thrown him out right then. But they're scared because Republicans are sissies. So they then threw their support behind Donald Trump. He played it right. Trump played it right. They should have said, run third party, asshole. Go ahead. Do it. Run third party. Because if the Democrats can't destroy you, your character, wait till we team up with the Democrats and we'll destroy you real good. Or have the stones to lose. You know, if Trump runs and costs the Republicans the election, well, have the stones to stand behind it. That's all there is to it. You know, you win some, you lose some, but Trump he made a mess of the Republican Party, and history will not remember him well. I'm sorry, the country's a disaster right now. Do I blame that all on Trump? Of course not. Do I blame COVID-19 on Trump? Of course not. I'm not an idiot. Do I blame the lockdowns completely on Trump? No, of course not. But it sure as hell happened under his watch, didn't it? I mean, the COVID-19 didn't cause the lockdowns. Government caused the lockdowns. He had his chance to stand up for the American people. He had his chance to pump the brakes on people going nuts over voter fraud. He encouraged the chaos. Good riddance. I am not looking forward to President Joe Biden. I think he is pretty lousy. But as far as Donald Trump is concerned, good riddance. See ya.
I'm not worried about Joe Biden. I'm worried about because he's in a reduced mental state because he's got, cognitive decline at the best and Alzheimer's at the worst. The folks that he's surrounding himself with are fucking loon bats. And I'm concerned that He's briefed on an issue that, of course, is the United States and all day to do his own homework. He's going to be briefed on an issue by radical A, B, and C. And he's never going to get an honest, middle-of-the-road assessment. He's going to make a lot of fucking bad choices for this country, and especially on the social front. This whole language about, we need to unite, and then I'm going to say something politically divisive like 5 seconds later, like, I'm going to go, we're going to go after, Republican cause
Uniting
A,
is pathetic.
and if you dare to oppose us, you don't unite. You're tearing this country apart. Like, there's a lot of people that, like, at this point, you've radicalized enough, like, mainstream normie Republicans that if you attempt to do some kind of gum confiscation, normie Republicans aren't just going to capitulate. They're going to go out in a hail of bullets. Like, you've radicalized people enough with your rhetoric, lefties, that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's a majority or even a large plurality. There's going to be a large integer of people that they're not, it's not just the over my cold.
I don't buy it, Dorf. I don't buy it.
Come heavily armed, because you're gonna get a fair fight here.
Dorf, come on, man. Normie Republicans won't walk into the gas station with a mask on their face.
You're gonna see a Waco.
They won't dare across the threshold of Target without a face diaper. Normie Republicans are pussies, just like the rest of Republicans. If COVID-19 and the lockdown showed us anything, it's that Americans won't do shit. They won't do anything. They'll fold. They'll fold like a pancake. First time that cop shows up on their door.
I'm saying, Josh, I'm not saying it's, I'm not showing that it's not.
I like pancake better. You don't fold your pancakes?
Lawn chair.
You fold your pancakes, especially, do you know what you fold your pancakes over? Pigs, like pigs in a blanket. Because as soon as the cops show up at your door, guess what's happening?
Okay, that's fine.
All the normie Republicans they're gonna start crying. The thin blue line. I gotta do what they tell me. You gotta do what they tell me. No, they're sissies. This country's full of sissies. That's it. They're not doing shit. They're not doing anything. They're not loading their guns. They're not. Shit. They won't take their face diaper off, man.
Oh, yeah. Josh, I'm telling you, it's a growing. Okay, let's call it minority of Republican.
I hope you're right,
Republican
but I don't think you are.
That will die on this hill. I'm telling, it's a lot bigger number than you think.
I hope you're right. Really, I do. I hope you're right.
You're right.
I hope they go down. I hope they stand up. I hope people stand up against this tyranny. I do. But we're under tyranny right now, and nobody seems to care. And quite frankly, to me, impeachment this, impeachment that, voter fraud, Joe Biden president, Donald Trump president, all of that stuff is worthless to me compared to the fact that a huge part of our country is still locked down. This country is locked down right now. Where I live, literally can't, you are not supposed to walk into a building, any building, without a mask on your face. You are not allowed to open your businesses. You're not allowed to open your restaurants. It's January in Michigan. For those people who don't live here, you ever been to Michigan in January? No inside dining. No inside dining allowed. There's a few restaurants out there trying to.
It's pretty miserable. Oh, trust me, I live in the free state of Indiana. My folks live in the People's Republic of Whitmerstan.
Right. This is a problem.
They're coming down.
Movie theaters are closed. You can't go to a bowling alley. Can't go to a movie theater. Can't go to the gym to work out. Thank God, working out sucks. But you can't do anything here, and people are whining about voter fraud. Biden, he's gonna make there be 46 genders. There's single payer health care. Dude, we live in communist China. We live in Nazi Germany right now. And the stuff that people are complaining about because it's what the news shoves into their pupils is pathetic. We have bigger fish to fry as a country right now. So yeah, are the Democrats are going to come for your guns? Yeah, I sure as hell hope people stand up. If they're taking people's liberty, I sure as hell hope people stand up. Do I think they will? No, I don't. I do not think they will. And there's something else that... Oh, by the way, whole bunch of people on both sides of the aisle want to make that vaccine mandatory. How do you feel about that while you're whining about voter fraud, America? Yeah, how do you feel about that while you're whining about Orange Man, America? You know, that's real. Yep. No, I will not do it. For me, that vaccine, they can put that vaccine in me. They can put that vaccine in my dead body right after they pry the guns out of my cold dead hands. But big problem with that whole you can pry them out of my cold dead hands thing. I'm all for it. I've said it. I'll say it again. Molan leve. Yeah, come and take them. But do you know what the problem with the cold dead hand scenario is? You're dead. Yeah. And it's not them. It's you. You're dead. So if it's not enough people standing up...
Somebody ends up dying here.
Do you know who aren't sissies? Do you know who does have the stones to do things? The government when they want to. And they will shoot you. And they will take your guns right out of your cold dead hands. So kudos to you for going down firing. But you lost. You lost. Because if it's only a small percentage of the population, they'll do it.
What I believe it was Ulysses. I believe it was Ulysses Grant said that, you know, those who were oppressed by their government have a duty to rebel. But if you end up losing, you have to be willing to accept that you have to live under the heel of your oppressor. You have a duty to rebel, but if you lose,
I do.
You're also obligated to, deal with it. That's a big, bad, ugly paraphrase, but you know what I'm saying.
Dorf,
you're getting a non-insignificant number of people.
I hope you're right, Dorf, and I will say this. There is a significant number of the population
there yet, but
that claims they will do this. We shall see. We shall see. Because you know what? There's a significant number of the population that said, hey, I went on a podcast. I was actually a guest on somebody else's podcast when the lockdowns were first happening. And the quote I said that I got a lot of positive feedback from, but a lot of negative feedback was, I said, you know what? You can quarantine this dick. And people loved it. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. I'm with you 100%. But they all folded like a pancake or a lawn chair. Let's go with pancake.
Hey, on this show, I said that, what I'm seeing is scary, or the data I'm seeing is scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to suck dick, but we may have to do this for 2 or 3 weeks. That was the bargain that I was okay with. This is going to be horrific.
You can't ever give them an inch, Dorf.
Strain on the economy, it's going to fucking suck. But if we got to do it for
15 days to flatten the curve, right?
Well, my patience ran out.
You cannot ever
in April.
give your... Yeah.
My patience ran out in April.
Right. You can never give your overlords an inch
15
because
days
they will surely take at least
15
a
days
mile.
to the next moving goalpost.
You can't do it. When I said I will never wear a mask, Oh my God, so many people chimed in. Me either, me either, me either. I'll never wear a mask. I'll never wear a mask. Until they just missed those chicken tenders from, from I don't know, where do you get chicken tenders? From Buffalo Wild so bad. Till they just, oh my God, but I just really want that endless pasta from Olive Garden. So let's put that face diaper on. They buckle, man. They buckle. And it doesn't take that long. So yeah, especially when the government likes to tell you, hey, we're going to come by next week and take your guns. Oh my God, everybody's going to be like, not my guns. Not my guns. These guns have been in my family for 50 years. Not my guns. Until it looks like, I think they're serious about this gun stuff. Oh, but CNN says that gun violence is terrible here in the United States. I gotta do it for the good of for the good of everyone. Yeah,
it's terrible, dude. Josh, gun violence is terrible in like 5 cities in this country. 5. Los Angeles, the El Paso area, Chicago, the New York Metro.
You're not going to throw Detroit in there?
More than one city. And like Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm sure I'm getting a couple.
As someone who lives in Detroit, if they tell me,
about as bad as
Detroit's terrible for gun violence, Josh, be like, yeah, nowadays. I know. That's why I own one.
And you know what?
And there's people in Los Angeles, law-abiding citizens in Los Angeles and the New York area saying the same thing. Like, yeah, I know it's bad here. That's why I own a gun. And then another one for safekeeping. And my wife's got one too. Because, Yeah. No, I have an extremely liberal
and the kids all know how to operate them.
Teenage daughter, senior in high school, who is about to go to college next year, and she's looking at colleges in New York, and I'm just like, cool, gonna buy you a gun and teach you how to shoot it before you go. But there's that.
Guess that 10 round mags, man. Just trade her on an 11, it won't be a problem.
Yeah. Go old school.
Yeah.
Forget rock that revolver.
Forget that double stack shit. Just go single stack.
Nothing wrong with that. They're great purse guns for you ladies out there.
But
listen, yeah. Not that we here at the Empire and Exile think women or ladies are idiots. Not what we're saying.
They are idiot-proof. Point shoot.
Well, at least I'm not. Dorf can say what he wants. Awesome.
Hey, my fiance. My fiance's probably a better shot than I am. That was when we were still just dating. It was very attractive. We went to the range together. She just grabbed it, racked it, and mag dumped into the target, and it was all in a decent grouping center mass. And I was like, I'm gonna marry this woman.
For sure.
Did I do that right? If we ever get in a scenario where you need to use this for real, that'll be adequate. Not precision shooting by any mean, but I've got mine's a 15+1. I think I just had 15 in it, and I think 14 were in center mass, and one was slightly off to the right, like at 20 yards.
Something people should remember too with guns is, when you'll
be okay here.
When you miss center mass, like getting shot anywhere in your body still really hurts. That's a bummer. That will ruin your day. I mean, that will mess up your weekend.
Yeah. Hey, it'll ruin if even if you get nicked, even if you have a graze wound, which like come on, like you have what's your perimeter of your body, and that's where you can get nicked. From a whatever 2D silhouette you're in.
Yeah.
You can get nicked.
That sucks, man.
There's a hell of a lot more
That's a bummer.
where you can actually take a body shot. Like all of those are going to ruin your day. Like, and that's my current personal investment, because the market for this hasn't gone crazy. Is going to be some high quality, battlefield grade med kits and the knowledge of how to use them. If your brother-in-law is an ex-army medic, so we're going to spend some time with him learning how to all the new fancy toys I bought, how to properly use them. That's because I was going to go to the range yesterday. I've got just enough ammo. I'm comfortable for now, but if I were to do a range day, I would be under my comfortable threshold. And realized how much money I was gonna, that isn't what I paid for, but what it would cost for me to replace what I was gonna use yesterday. And I said, yeah, you know what? Never mind, because I paid for decent quality full metal jacket training ammo. I paid $20 back in May. That same exact.
Yeah, but I was gonna say it's got to be triple that.
Maybe triple that tomorrow. Actually,
Dorf, do you want to mention anything about?
I believe it'll be like 63 cents a round. It'll be 3 times as much. And that's as cheap as you can get. There's steel case.
Yikes.
There's steel case 9. By
Dorf,
the way,
do we want to say anything about Twitter changing its ways before we wrap this up tonight?
Anyway, continue. I'll believe it when I see it. So Jack Dorsey put out a statement, I believe, tonight about how everything the way we've tried to do the last couple months has been wrong, and we're going to pivot and move towards more transparency, and our bad guys, bear with us while we roll this out over the next week. I think it's a little too late. I think it's entirely something they had canned and ready to go, and then they saw that they lost like $6 billion in market cap in the last 3 days and started fucking panicking that Jack Dorsey might get he's already lost when he was the founder of Twitter. He already's been like deposed the CEO once. Like if this kept going this way, it was going to happen again. And oh, by the way, he's now probably in a party in an antitrust lawsuit, or at least a minimum an anti-competitive behavior lawsuit between Parler and Amazon Web Services. So whether Amazon wanted to or not, or this is their intention or not, their actions have directly aided Twitter's market share, which means they're probably now going to be a party in litigation, which a plain reading of law of antitrust law in my mind means that they owe Parler fuck you money. So then again, I'm not a trust
we just
attorney,
we just play one on internet TV.
I'm not an IP or corporate. I'm not a corporate attorney. Not an attorney at all. So we'll see. Other than that, yeah, pretty much. The other thing, 2 things here. They're on the screen currently, have been for a little bit. The Josh, in your mind, in your reading of the Constitution, if Donald Trump is impeached but not removed before his time in office expires, whether he resigns or his term's up, can he be convicted post end of his term, or does they didn't get it done in time? Is it null and void at that point, make him ineligible to run again? So if they can get the votes to remove him until the 20th,
it does. Yeah, it does to me. The way I,
in your mind,
read it, and there's past precedent for this, is that the moment he resigns the position, whether it's still resigning the position when you leave at the at the required time. I see that as
when you're out.
It's over. I don't
21st at noon
because as we know, Congress or the House impeaches and the Senate holds the trial. But the Senate is given this ability through the Constitution to hold the trial because it's a constitutional right given to them to remove government officials. They are not a court of law. They are a court of the government to do this. This would, so I do not see that. There is past precedent for when impeachment is in mid-process that it ends, I believe, with one of the Supreme Court justices, I believe, that they just stop the debate. The dissent on this, I guess I should say, is that the precedent was simply set that they chose to stop, not that they had to stop. That's where it gets fuzzy for me, because I'm not certain that, they can say.
Fair enough. Either if Congress decides to go that route, I'm sure that this gets a Supreme Court date to hammer it out officially. Whether Trump wants to run again or not, I'm sure it gets a Supreme Court date sometime in 2021 or early 23. Other thing is, right before we went on the air, Mike Pence made it a formal announcement through a letter to, I believe, Nancy Pelosi that he released publicly that
probably a smart move.
He doesn't plan on gathering the cabinet to try and invoke the 25th. Nothing gained there. Pelosi, while we're on air, named impeachment managers, including Eric Swalwell. Fartwell.
Are they just doing that for the memes? Are they just doing like she's actually putting him in a position of power?
Spy for multiple years. I'm sorry.
I mean, come on. Are they just doing that for the memes?
Job?
That doesn't even make sense.
Yes, I think it's so he gets to go grandstand.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they know he's damaged goods, and they're trying to save him.
And he must have some game.
Good-looking dude that they hope will still be around for a while. Who's not afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you looked at the little mini document, when he ran for president for 5 minutes, his campaign released like a mini documentary about like Eric Swalwell, his upbringing or whatever like that. He's a classic self-hating liberal. He's like an Iowa farm boy who he's like all of a sudden became a default.
He's your working class friend.
His parents
that
vote for him.
Went to like community college and all of a sudden
I forget which, but he's
we all have them. Yeah, we all have them, like that friend that they started going to college
the big
and
city,
all of a sudden
now
they
thinks he's
turned into this.
Now thinks he's better than you.
This progressive freak, and you're just laughing at him because you're like, okay, yeah, like wait, you
better than you.
Right, like you just you switched to this 7 minutes after we did that beer bong on your way.
But he watched the Young Turks for the first time.
Give me a break, kid. Right.
Yeah, right.
And you were laughing just as hard as me.
Hey, buddy, 10 days ago we were getting drunk on
it's
a
dumb.
Tuesday
It's dumb.
South
No,
Park,
that's
right?
exactly what he is.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were getting drunk on Tuesday at noon, eating Cheetos and drinking beer. Like, relax, dude. No, yeah, that's Eric's Fartwell, if you will. But yeah, Mike has no plan to use the 25th. The impeachment's just a shit show. Matters. Nothing's getting done except the next week anyway.
Yeah, like every president doesn't do it.
Because oh my God, Orange left to go to
Oh,
pardon
it took
people.
him like a week.
The poorest. Like, fucking look at Bill Clinton's pardons. Like, you lost. Yeah.
Right.
Like, oh my God, he pardoned Charlie. He pardoned Charles Kushner.
Dad,
like, he was always going to do that. Like, whether it was Charles Kushner, Jared's dad or grandpa, I forget which, already served his time. The pardon or commutation doesn't, well, the commutation won't do anything. Pardon, it effectively doesn't do anything.
Well, okay. Here, this message goes out to everyone on planet Earth.
Anyway.
Like you wouldn't pardon your son-in-law's dad if you had the opportunity. Okay. So in this scenario, your son-in-law's dad committed a white-collar crime.
Yeah.
You have the chance to pardon him. Are you doing it? Okay, so there's two groups of people in this world. The people that said yes and liars. That's it. That is it. And okay, wait. Okay, there might be a small group of people who hate their son-in-law. Okay.
Those who
but those people are going. The only reason they're not is they're going to call their son-in-law and be like, "Hey, bro, hey, dude, did you think I was going to pardon your dad today? Because I didn't." I didn't. Tell that bitch I said, I mean, that's those are the only through. Everyone on planet Earth falls into one of those three groups. That's it. Everyone on planet Earth falls into one of those three groups. I don't care which one you
sweetie,
are.
I love
just
her,
know that you fall into one of those three.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's sad where Bill Belichick, who's kind of been a quiet supporter of the president, is like, oh, yeah, do you want a presidential medal of freedom for him?
Now I'm tight. I got some Super Bowl rings.
It's not
we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
The playoffs, I had better
do you know what else
do.
I kind of wonder, though? Is Gerald Ford set a precedent that I don't know that Donald Trump can't pardon himself right now for like anything, for like everything.
He'll do it, and there's really nothing, because the power, I mean, assuming he's still legitimately holding the
right, exactly.
Like, there's nothing that
the president absolutely has that.
Pardon is absolute. There's nothing that
they have that power.
It's an absolute unchecked power. It's an unchecked power. I mean, he could, if he could figure out the names.
I don't know that he needs
of
their
everybody
names
involved in the Capitol raid or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
he could absolutely pardon all those people way out the door. Unfortunately, I believe one of them.
I actually don't, but I could be wrong. I think a lot of people don't realize
I think he does. I think he specifically
Gerald
has to name
Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. And
anyway,
there could be debate on this. I'm not the end-all, be-all, representative of this, but the way he pardoned him, if Richard Nixon, you're talking, elderly man here at this point, but if Richard Nixon decided that he wanted to rob a bank in like 1983, I don't think they could convict him for it. Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon because of everything he did. He was truly just trying to heal the country, I think.
It was a blanket pardon.
But he pardoned him for everything he had done, everything he'd potentially done, and all past, present, and future crimes. Really, Richard Nixon could have robbed a bank in the late 70s or early 80s, and they've been like, well, yeah. Good to see you here, Mr. Nixon. Thanks. So I'm not sure Trump can't do that to himself right now.
I haven't
say he's.
And quite frankly, based on his interactions with, he's not getting a handy from Mike Pence on the way out. Based on his interactions with him here on the way, I resigned with like 4 months ago. Could you please pardon me, please? No, it'd be the ultimate like boss move. Okay, Mr. Trump. Okay, Mr. President, we'll do that. All right, play resignation. Psych. Yes, psych. Honestly, you know what would be the ultimate boss move? It would piss off pretty much his entire base. I know it'll never happen, but Joe Biden's first act of office. Yep. Clement, blanket pardons of Trump and all his executive officials. It's over. We're done. We're not doing witch hunts. We're not doing.
You know what? If Biden was serious about his unity bullshit, which we all know he's not, if he was serious about it, that's what he'd do.
Done. Over.
He would do that. He would do it. And if the Democrats are smart,
he'd do that. First order of business. It could even be an above board, like a backwater,
right?
Back channel, agreement on this. You drop the bullshit about going after
just say
son and his corrupt foreign dealings. I'll do this for you. You drop that, I'll do this for you. And
I mean, or just say, listen,
conditional pardons.
Keep talking shit, and I'll just pardon Hunter next week.
There you go. Do that, and we're fine.
You know, I mean, truth be told, that's how the world works. That's how it works. Yeah, and if the Democrats are smart, the Democrats at top act like they're pissed for the show, for the theater, and then you move on, and it's a win. You chalk it up as a win. But that's assuming that there's even like one. Yeah, that's assuming that there's even one politician out there on either side of the aisle that actually gives a shit about the country over their own party. And I don't think there's one. I don't think there's one. I don't think you could find one person in the 535 people in Congress who truly feel that way if you strap into a polygraph, you know. But that's all I got for you, Dorf.
Okay. Well, on that note, I would say on that note, it's time to end here tonight. God, I don't have the exact clip in front of me just because we were streaming this. It's like a half, 40 minutes. So, anyway, thanks for joining us here tonight, everybody. Episode 24, episode 25 next week at some point. We'll see you wherever you find us.